Good.
Good. You're ready to go. Can you hear me in there too?
No, I can't.
You can't. Okay, I can hear you.
Really?
Hey, people. We're already broadcasting too. Let me see. We're gonna play around with the mics a little bit here. Let me talk on my
Anything here?
Oh,
One,
mine's
two.
not. There we go. I was on mute, so now you can hear me.
Now I got you.
All right.
You got me?
I got you. Yeah, I had you the whole time. All right. Ed Simia here with Michael Pinto Hope, the play-by-play man tonight for the first round of the Nutmeg Tuesday Night League playoffs.
Evening, Nutmeg. Evening, GNCC.
Good
Curling
evening.
fans all over.
Yeah, curling fans around the world who have tuned into our broadcast, hopefully. So
We'll give you a quick rundown on the rosters in a moment, but on Sheet B, we've got our first seeded team, Sean Main, against the Robert Kwan Seed 2 rink. That's the top half of the page playdown system. The winner of that game will advance directly to the final, and it would be required for the loser of that match to circle down to the other semifinal,
Yep.
which would be the winner of Sheet C, our third and fourth seed. Mark Zakin's ranked being the third.
Yep.
Jonathan Gibbons the fourth.
Good recap there, Mike. Yeah, so we'll try to give a little action on both sheets tonight for those watching.
And over on Sheet B, Team Maine is looking to make a takeout in the back of the house. There's a couple of Yellowstones. Mike McCarthy's up, playing second for Team Maine. Rest of the rink being Heidi Fallon at lead, Craig Doucette at third, and Sean Maine as vice. Over on Sheet C, we got a really nice draw to the back of the house by Brian Walker. Team Zakin second. And he sat nicely against two opponent stones in the back of the house.
All right, I'll let you handle the play-by-play for a while. I'm going to set up some graphics for the broadcast here.
Yeah,
Couple
we're having a tough
scoreboards.
time seeing the far house. We just realized our rear monitors weren't on.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you got to turn on the TVs individually now, though. All right, so playing red on Sheet B is the main rink versus Kwan.
And it's a nice approach down by Rana Zakin from Team Zakin. Sat right on about the button. That should be a pretty hard stone to remove. Oh, I apologize. Turns out that was Brian Tully's stone. Second for Team Gibbons.
Yeah, a reminder that the higher seeds in each game had the ability to pick both the color they wanted and take hammer in the first end, so no complaints about the the rocks by the teams with the hammer, I would hope.
And over on Sheet B, we had a double takeout attempt by Team Kwan. Don Malner's sword just passed.
Twice he didn't make.
And Team Kwan looking to bring a third rock down into the house. David Bykowski playing vice for Team Kwan is in the hack. Jonathan Corelli shaking things up a little on sheet C with, I believe, his first stone.
Yeah, a lot of rocks in play on sheet C. Not that surprising. The Zakin team likes to play with a lot of rocks in play. So you won't see too many blanks in their games. It's going to be a contrast of styles here. B, you're probably going to see a lot less rocks in play most of the night. C, quite a bit more because they play a bit more aggressively.
And up on sheet B is the first rock of Craig Doucette, Team Maine's Vice. Sweepers are on this pretty hard, and it looks like they'll get at least one. Roll over and spill out of the house, leaving one Yellowstone in the house.
Yeah, hard to say. I think that one in the back might actually be out now that we look at it here on the... it might just be out. It's very close. Hard to tell on the camera even. It looks out based on the camera, but you never know with the... on B, yeah.
Whoa, that's a lot of work.
I believe that is out.
Yeah.
They were actually.
And
So
David
looking at the,
Wojtkowski up with his second stone. They're looking to crawl around that high guard, split the house. Sweepers are bringing it in nicely.
A friend of mine.
Jonathan Corelli up with his last rock in the first end. And they're throwing a light hit, it looks like, against the number one counting red rock in there. Looks to be a rather nice shot coming in. And that's a fantastic roll.
Yeah, really well placed. Very difficult to get rid of that rock now, especially with that high red guard.
Over on sheet B, Craig Doucette just peeled the second rock that Team Quan put up in the house. And it looks like Team Quan is going to try to go right behind that guard again. Michael Parker up for Team Zakin on sheet C. And I would assume they're trying to crawl right down into that pile.
Yeah, Michael Parker, a substitute tonight.
Oh, that's right. I
For
believe
Team Zakin, yeah.
Ellie Bockley being the regular vice on that team.
Ellie Bockley and Carl Bockley unable to make it tonight, so we have 3 of the 5 members of Team Zakin with a sub filling in for the evening. Draw's coming in nicely. Just a bit short.
Robert Quan up with his first rock.
Still a very empty house over there on P, huh?
Absolutely, Ed.
Nothing in play. Guards to use, though. They're still going to, I mean, he buries this, they'll have a chance to get 2. Although this looks like it's floating a bit out there.
Does look a bit deep.
Might just be heading right through. Yeah.
We've still got the blank house and sheet B. 3 rocks to go.
Sure. So. Yeah, well, now with nothing else in play, we got Sean with his last 2 rocks, a chance to bury 1 and play for 2 still. I imagine that's the plan for Team Maine. Get around that center guard. Hope you're still 1 at the end of that for their shot and draw for your 2. Yeah, put the C house on the screen for a second for people to look at. A lot of rocks in play there, and yellow with hammer is sitting pretty well. Their 1 rock under guard with backing. Still has the full 4-foot to play with. Not easy for red to steal, but definitely. Definitely 2 in play for yellow. If the situation just stays like it is and they can draw for a second at the end, I think John would be very happy. Or Gibbons. I had some
think
notes.
they'd be really happy with that outcome.
Yeah. Gibbons coming in here for his first shot.
Over on sheet B, Sean Main's first rock is off. Trying to get around that top center guard. Just over curled a little bit. So we still got an open house on B.
Yeah, came up light. Probably saw Roberts go through and thought it was a little faster than it was.
The classic overcompensate.
Yeah.
Jonathan Gibbons with a fairly
Looking to sit,
nice looking
too.
draw on sheet C. Coming right down to the pile.
Okay, not
Just
bad at
over
all.
the pin and a very nice position.
Certainly, Mr. Zakin can try to sit right there, but that's a aggressive shot to start the game this early. Make it, and it's a great shot if it doesn't get there. Though what they're looking at, maybe the fact there's not really a better option. It's not easy to get rid of that rock. They may just want to, because even if we go back to that overhead view, you hit that yellow on the, it's the bottom side of the screen we're looking at, and it's going to jam on a back right anyway. It's very hard to get rid of either of those yellow rocks. So a freeze may be the call here. Just give them right down
Yeah,
to
maybe
it.
just come down and join the party. As you
That's
said,
it.
a lot of granite in the house first end.
Yeah.
And Robert Kwan's off with his last stone on sheet B. It looks to be a rather nice one. He got by the two guards out center. They're just looking to get that berry. And it just didn't curl quite enough, but it's a pretty nice stone.
Probably mostly under the guard, if not all the way under. It may force Sean to play for one. He's looking at it. He may. I mean, I don't think if he
He is taking a look.
depends how much he can see. If he thinks he can play the blank, or if he's gonna. Yeah, he's just gonna draw for one. It looks like that makes a lot of sense. All right.
Mark Zakin up on sheet C. Skip for Team Zakin. His first rock, just looking to come down and join all the many rocks that are in the house. And this looks to be pretty good. It's going to shake things up just a little bit. I actually moved two of the yellow stones, one out of the 4 foot, and then
Does sit one now.
one from the 8. Looking pretty good.
We're gonna cut right over to the house on B as the rock's coming in. Sean's going to need to be full white, full 8 foot to count. This looks a little fast. It's going to be close in the back, but they're going to be able to sweep that out. That's going to be a steal of 1 for Team Kwan to open up the scoring on B.
And I also just noticed that I guess sheet C, they haven't correctly reflected the hammer on the scoreboard.
On the scoreboard?
So for those that are home and might not be looking at the monitor.
Oh, no, they did. Gibbons has yellow. Gibbons took yellow and has hammer. Oh, no, you're right. Zakin
thought
has
that,
hammer. My mistake. You're right. You're absolutely right. So they did not
Thought they
reflect
were
it.
going to change it.
They
And
did not reflect it, but that doesn't always happen. You see that a lot in club play.
for
Not
anybody at home that's not looking right at their monitor,
We're practicing.
who may come out and see that,
Yeah.
maybe we'll try to fix that for them.
Oh, yeah.
On sheet B, the Aaron Rush in with the opening rock. Looking to grab himself some center guard. David and Don sweeping it rather nicely. That's going to be a rather nice start. I guess they're going to bring it into the house.
Give you a quick look at that while we're waiting for Team Gibbons to decide what they want to throw here. And looks like Sean's going to try to set up an end here, set up a corner guard, and try to score. Sean on sheet B. Yeah, they're not hitting the rock that came in play. They're gonna set up
Gonna
the
ignore
corner
it
and
play on. Looks like.
yeah, they want to. Although it looks like this is
It
just
does
going to go
look
right in the
heavy and
house.
Maybe coming right in.
Yeah, it's early enough in the game that that's hardly
Yeah,
a
well, certainly they can
Problem.
afford that.
You're there behind the house.
That one's going to go a little deep, but I think it'll hang around in the back there. All right.
Fourth is waiting. That part.
All right, as you can see down here, Jonathan Gibbons getting in the hack, ready to throw his final shot of the first end over on C. Final shot without hammer. I had that backwards earlier, so shots away.
It's like a down hit weight.
Yeah, he's looking to move back that redstone and hope he still sits 2 at the end of this.
Still waiting for it to curl.
Oh, it's going to need to move. I don't think he got anything of it. Yeah.
It did just soar by.
So
Might be
Good
an
news for him is
opportunity.
that normally you'd be a little worried in this situation because red is first, third, and fourth, but there's nowhere for that Yellowstone to go. No one in the world's going to get rid of that. Well, I guess you could chip it out from the outside,
Presumably,
but it would have to be some sort of double run back, and you're going to lose the
presumable
shooter.
draw for 2 here.
Yeah, you probably aren't getting more than 2, even if you
Early
made
to
that.
take that risk as well. You never know, and all of a sudden,
Oh yeah, you could easily just nick it in and give
take
up
that
one.
one stone out and go for
Yeah.
force one to give one.
And I mean, even in your dream scenario, I'm not sure it's. I mean, the most you'd be able to get is 2 if you chipped it out, because you're going to roll away and probably lose a couple rocks. So.
Over on sheet B, Heidi Fallon just threw a lovely control hit, leaving a split house for Team Maine. And it looks like Robert Kwan is going to play the hit right back, roll their shot back to center. And here comes Mark Zakin's hammer throw. Parent draw for 2.
I'm just going to let people see both houses for a second here. If we can.
Well, Mark's rock is off. It looks pretty good. Sweepers did get on it fairly quick. Even at a moderate pace, this does look maybe a little light, but they're dragging it really well. This is a very nice looking stone on the approach.
Should get there for 2 if it's out counting. The only thing I don't know is
may have
whether
boxed
or not.
himself out from here.
Yeah, you may not have been able to land on that for 2.
I'm definitely looking
And
at
it
the
looks
one.
like
They've
they
already
might have
kicked.
agreed already. Yeah, they're kicking.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're kicking the red too.
yeah, it looked like 1 red there.
Looks like just the one red.
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, then they, it was confusing to me because they kicked the red first. Sometimes that indicates which one it is, but
Well, we got.
Oh, sure, yeah. He was, I saw Parker sort of, and being Zakin's advice, just kind of point to the 1, which makes me think it was just, he was conceding that it was only 1, yeah.
And over on sheet B, we got Mike the Milkman McCarthy. Successful hit over on the edge of the 12-foot, although he did spill the shooter, which I thought they were looking to leave 2 in the house. Team Quan now has Don Maunder going to remove the sole red rock. Shots off and looks very good. Guess we're seeing that contrast already at a fairly clean table over on
Yeah.
B and lots of congestion.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a nutmeg curler who's curled all the 4 teams, you'd probably be able to predict that if it's. But it could be interesting, especially if you're not used to seeing different styles of play. That right next to each other, you're going to see 2 very different games, both with a lot of made shots, but leading to different sorts of outcomes. Because that game on B is you're not gonna see, or unless one team falls behind and has to play aggressively, you're not likely to see 10 rocks in the house. Whereas I think we may have already seen that on C. It was very close, 7 or 8 rocks in the house on C in that first end.
Great contrast. And as we say, now we just had Craig Doucette cleaning the house yet again.
So as we're early in the end, so I'll do a quick rundown on the team as I made some notes. I made a media guide for myself here on the teams. So over on A, playing the Yellow Rocks playing the Red Rocks is our first seed Team Maine. Right, Team Maine went 14-6 this season. They spent the whole time in the A division. We have an A and B division in our league.
That's spectacular.
Yeah, spectacular for playing the top teams. They finished.
Consistent.
Yeah, the last draw they went 3-2, so they finished out fairly strong, and they're 3-1 against Quan this season. So they've played
And
4
they were
times.
a total of 56 points, I recall.
Yeah, because they got 4 times for
Team
the
Quan,
14.
4,
Yeah.
4 points behind at 52.
Yeah, Team Quan finished as the second seed with 52 points. So they went. So they were 1 game back, 13-7. Also spent their whole time in A. And they really picked it up late. They had an interesting season because you might remember this, Mike. They were 9-0 at one point.
And then I recall
Proceeded to
a little
lose
bit of
6 in a row,
Yeah.
but then finished 4-1. So they finished very strong, finishing easily in second place. The top 2 seeds were fairly well ahead of the rest of us at the end of the season. Like I said, yeah, these 2 teams have played 4 times already.
Somebody was on vacation.
Scott Fallon is asking if someone had been on vacation. I
No, we won't get into
recall.
there may have been different reasons. We're not going to get into why they slumped. These things happen in curling. Over on sheet C, our third seed is the Zakin team playing the Redstones there on.
Yeah, we've got a similar
On
looking
sheet C.
house. Clean house. They just swept out the last rock from Team Gibbons.
Yeah.
A couple of guards.
More
out
guards
front.
though. Even when there's not a lot of rocks in play, you'll see more guards on this game. I think early on, especially maybe more guards later in the game on sheet B also. But so on C we have Team Zakin. Team Zakin also went 14-6 this year, tied for the best record in the league.
Quite impressive.
They spent 3 of the 4 sessions in the B division, which is why they finished with less points, because you get 3 for a win there and 4 in the A division. But they are definitely the hottest team coming in the playoffs. Won their last 10 games in a row to make the playoffs. 10-0 in B, yeah, in the B division.
That is really great.
Yeah,
Very impressive.
Yeah. And they played Gibbons twice this year, and they split their 2 games. These 2 teams, so expect a good one. Yeah.
They're playing them really well right now. They just Brian Walker just about perfectly buried one.
Oh yeah, beautiful rock there.
And bite the button, and Team Gibbons is going to go after those guards.
Yeah, we're gonna have some peeling now here on C. Gotta get out that rock somehow. Finally, Team Gibbons finished 11-9 on the year for our 4 seed. They spent, of all these teams, they spent half their time in A and half in B, two each, 2 sessions in A, 2 in B. First half of the year, and well, that's not right. They spent. Sorry, I'm wrong. But they spent their first session in B and the last 3 in A. So they were up in A for most of the season.
Once they came up, they stayed up.
Yeah, they did, because they went 3-2 that first draw. Moved up in the mass migration where we had 4 teams swap.
And I think he also...
And they stayed up the whole way. Went 8-7. Very solid A team they played, and they beat they've beaten all 3 teams here at least once. So anyone they play, they're going to have a shot at. I mean,
and I recall they've got some new players this year. That
I can't say I remember exactly the lineup changes they made, but it's Gibbons does have a bit of a different look this year, for sure.
The sweepers are on this pretty hard on sheet C, bringing in a great-looking guard from Brian Walker. Protect that shot, rock.
Yeah, just putting the guard back.
Very well done.
I don't know that Gibbons is going to try this. If I was him, I'd be tempted to at least try the double peel, try to get both guards at once, because trading 1 for 1. He may be playing the run too, though, and that's the same way.
Straight back, potentially.
2 for 1 either way makes sense, but you should try to get 2 rocks with 1 here.
Or at the very minimum, remove it and open up.
You got to get rid of 1, and you got to get rid of 1 and move. That's the minimum goal, yeah.
Shots off, and it's a great-looking hit. Just waiting on it to curl. This is Brian Tully's first rock.
Yeah, he's going to get out of there.
He peeled that guard nicely.
Perfectly good peel. Thanks for joining us in the chat, Ellie. I know you're very interested in the results on sheet C, so hope we'll give you some good commentary.
Eleanor Bockley. Good evening, Ellie. Wherever you are.
Among our 8 viewers.
Zone. I think they might be out in Mountain Time.
Hope they're enjoying wherever they are.
Oh, Ellie? And Carl?
Sheet B, Robert Kwan trying to draw in around that center guard.
Yeah, just rubs.
Just a little bit short. Wasn't able to bury that in.
Sean looks like
looking to remove it.
Yeah.
Back to sheet C, Michael Parker with a nice looking stone coming in.
And right now it's mostly just peel and replace. So this guy get over a little, but it should be fine. He's not going to leave. Yeah, that's plenty far over. Almost exactly where the last one was, in fact. I mean,
another great-looking stone.
Mm-hmm. And John, once again, John going to ask John Corelli to throw the run back here.
The Johns.
Team Johns.
Johns and company.
If he had another Brian, it could be Team Johns. For some reason, I thought they might be Johns and Brians. There's only 1 Brian on the team, though. So, yeah, two Johns, a Brian, and a Trish tonight.
Great.
Right, incoming here. This is actually fairly close to the run back, but it also is pretty close to just leaving the guard. You don't want to nose it. All right, it did it over-curled.
Got themselves out of the way in good shape.
And, yeah, perfectly fine peel.
Another nice shot by John Corelli.
And over here on B,
Sean
just chipped the guard and left 2 in, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, looks like he did. And
well, the good news for Sean is he's got 1 more rock left. He's got the hammer, and the middle of the sheet's wide open right now. So if he can make his draw on the last shot, he'll be fine. But it might put a little pressure on him to make that shot or risk giving up 2 or 3, depending on what Team Kwan does here.
He did tap initially just out front of the house, but then he gave a little bit of a gesture toward the 12-foot ring. Imagine anything right around the nibbling the top 12.
Another guard left by Parker. This one overcurled a little more end, is close to that top guard, and I think John's going to look at the double peel now instead of the run back, the way those are set up.
Yeah, gosh, that's going to be hard to run. You just can't get to it.
But if you get rid of both, it's going to be very hard to perfectly guard that rock. With that, having that first guard that was covering maybe a corner of it makes it a lot easier to guard because you can throw up the second one a little wider. And you don't have to be as exact to completely guard your rock. If you don't have any guards to begin with, if you want to completely bury your or guard your rock in the house, it's got to be a pretty perfect guard.
And here comes John Corelli with some up weight.
Air sweeping hard. This is close. Think he's going to move them, but might leave his own. Oh, just ticked it over. Unfortunately, that actually leaves.
About the same alignment.
Yeah.
Replace red with yellow.
And now you got two guards on a completely buried rock, and Mark might consider coming around again to sit two now.
And it does look. Over on sheet B, Robert Quandit successfully placed his last rock into the top 12, leaving the 4-foot wide open on one side of the sheet. Although Craig Doucette and Sean Main are having a look at.
They're looking at some angles here. They're seeing if it's possible to throw the hit for a double and maybe you get all three in. But I don't know if you can't blank that way. I'd be tempted to draw, but no, he's going to go for it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
well, he may be thinking it's a fairly simple double. As long as you hit the broom and throw enough weight, you should be able to make the double here. And if he does that, he gives up no more than one. If he gets lucky, he gets all three. Hey, he'll take that too.
All this over the 4-foot draw.
Or the 8-foot draw. Actually even all the way to the 12-foot draw. That's
feeling confident in it.
It could be, it could be not feeling like he knows the ice that well yet. He did draw the first end and didn't quite get the weight down, so maybe he's not quite, against 3 he doesn't feel like he wants to draw. He'd rather cut down the damage and see if he can get lucky and get his 1.
And here comes that final rock. We got a very early sweep call on it. Looks like it's going to be close
Should get
to the center.
1, 2.
Gosh,
got 2 out.
They got 2, and
it looks like yellow's still counting. So will be a steal of 1, but hey, keeps them very much in the game. No disaster at all. Giving up 1 there.
Far better than attempting to draw on a sheet you're not very comfortable with.
Oh, if you're very confident about making that, there's nothing wrong with throwing that shot this early in the game. Absolutely.
Jonathan Gibbons with his first rock. They're looking to essentially do the same.
Yeah, they're still peeling over there.
Got himself a nice-looking hit weight. Rock just isn't curling a whole lot. It's on the top yellow guard.
Move both.
Actually
That's
moved
good.
them both rather nicely.
Watch those rocks. Okay.
They opened up a good portion of the sheet. That's a very effective rock.
Yeah, gonna force Mark to make a good guard here to steal.
Scott Folland presented a pretty good question. Just noticed, yours truly got himself a haircut yesterday. But
congratulations, Mr. Hope, on the haircut.
Coming up or anything. Is there
anything you want to tell the audience? Our 9 viewers.
I'll be seeing my mom for breakfast on Saturday, per usual.
All right.
That's the best data a gent can have.
So we'll watch Mark get ready for this. I'm actually going to move the scoreboards around at some point after this because there's a better place to put them when we only have the 2 games going, so Mark's away.
This looks like a rather nice draw.
Yeah, they were looking to just bite. If you really wanted to steal, you'd go a touch a bit higher, but it does put a threat of 2 in, and else it's just going to come down there. And if you can put it side by side, it makes it not so easy to get your 1 because if you hit.
That is a rather nicely placed stone, and I imagine Jonathan Gibbons has to move each of them to count.
You can. Now what they're looking at is if you hit half a rock on the left side or the bottom side, what we're looking at on the stream, we'll get rid of both and
give them both
and get a blank. Yeah, and you can blank that way if you want. And much like we were talking about on the other sheet, it's also you're in this case playing for the blank, but guaranteeing you won't give up more than 1 as long as you hit something.
Something. Key being something. Over on sheet B, we get Heidi Follin's first stone. Sean Main looking to bring it into the house. Give Team Main the split. Both Mike and Craig are on that fairly hard, and they brought that shot in nicely. Well split house on sheet B. Jonathan Gibbons into the hack for his hammer toss. Not a whole lot of ice taken, so we're anticipating a fairly firm release.
Oh yeah, he needs to throw some weight here to make sure he gets down. He's going to get 1. This will not overcurl to the point where it doesn't hit anything.
Get some great peel weight. Stones coming in.
It's going to get rid of something. I think he's just not going to, It's going to be 1 red. Based on the overhead, it looks like. No.
Yeah, it's definitely 1.
That'll make it 2-0 Team Zakin at the end of 2.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw the bar cameras on so you can watch a little of the action there while our play-by-play man goes through the action, and I'm going to set up some scoreboards at a slightly better location so we can leave them up full time. I'd like we can leave them up there in the corner. It won't get in the way of anything.
Oh, I didn't realize that function was available.
Yeah. So
over on sheet B, we get the back and forth with the removal and splitting of the house, although Mike McCarthy's latest just a bit too heavy. Took it out of the back of the house with relative ease. Robert Kwan looking to just take this stone in the 8-foot out. Don Malner in the hack.
How far? Doesn't matter. Quarter miles is bad as 500 miles.
Bound shot coming in rather nicely. Roll back to the center of the rings. Into the 8-foot.
Every Monday.
We've got the always charming Elizabeth Brown Tully keeping the bar, rocking the lounge, and I think she might have just stubbed her toe.
Thank you.
And I believe
Yes.
Elizabeth also in charge of the music extraordinaire.
Well, hopefully they can't hear that over
Clash, I think. Rock the Casbah.
Yeah.
Scott.
Good, man.
Yeah. Done.
Oh,
All
thank
right.
you, Elf. That'll
I never got out the door. It was done.
All right, we got our scoreboards up in the corner. You can't see the B scoreboard, but it's okay because it's right there for you anyway. You know, we'll have the main Quan and they can Gibbons scores up there full time.
perfect.
Yeah. So that'll play over everything. So that's good. All right. So both games 2-0. Both teams trailing have the hammer obviously because they haven't scored yet, so we know that.
Trish Ryan off with her second rock, trying to get around that center guard. So far, sweepers are walking along patiently. Looks like a rather great stone. Very nice looking stone. Didn't quite bury, but it finished nice.
Not bad. I think that's
It's a rather good stone. Good placement.
yeah. Got a corner around. It's not easy to get to that if with any weight.
David Bykowski off on sheet B with a firm hit.
The game on B.
Nose hit leaves
Game
a
on-
stone in the 12-foot.
Game on B, definitely ahead of the game on C, partially because they're throwing a lot of hits over there on B.
Yeah, this will be interesting at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Assuming they'll each play full
Yeah.
draw. We might be opposite
A nice
ends
throw.
come eighth end. A whole
A
end
nice
ahead.
little throw there by Brian Walker. I know I had to think about my Bryans.
Do have a Brian's situation.
We have 2 Bryans out there.
2 Brian's, 2 Johns.
We have a lot of Bryans with the club in total. Yeah. Gibbons in a pretty good place to play appeal here because he is sitting second shot. This is,
And that's a nice
Well-
goal by
yeah.
Brian Tully.
While it looks like visually similar to last end that they're putting up guards and he's peeling, this is better than last end for Gibbons because he's sitting second shot. So if Team Zakin ever doesn't make their guard, now it's a play for 2 all of a sudden.
Far better start.
Yeah, rather than chasing after the only rock in the house. Yeah, we're already up to skip rocks on B.
Robert Kwan on his first stone, looking to take out that 12-foot counter of Team Mainz.
This is if our skips can make their shots over there and B, this is trending towards a blank. There's 1 rock in play. I mean, that's
This one's going to stack up fairly close to the edge of the ring, so at this point,
he may be
forward,
looking to roll in, yeah,
roll in,
which he did.
and bring
Sit
himself
around
up.
the edge of the 4 on the other side. Yep. That's
Good
pretty
switch.
pretty easy calls to make. That'll speed up this game too. It's just they're gonna just open hit. We're gonna hit. Nothing else to do at this point. Too early to be taking any risk. He doesn't have to press for 2. He doesn't have to try to throw a freeze or anything like that. If it was the like it was the 8th end down 2, that would be a different story, of course. But
A
yeah.
long draw.
got a lot of time in both of these games, especially 2-point lead without the hammers. Both the teams that are up now definitely have the advantage, but with 6 ends left, it's a very small advantage with this much time.
And then I don't recall if we had mentioned these are 8-end matches tonight.
Yes, all of our playoff games and all of our regular season games 8 ends. We don't do any 10 end expanded games in this league. Over on C, we're just slid by the counter and just tapped out the back yellow. Left another yellow. Didn't make it any worse, but yeah.
Just the 2 in the house.
Yeah, just those 2 rocks in the house. So Sean hits and rolls out on B, leaving nothing in the house. And Team Quan just deciding where they want to put a rock to make it as hard as possible for Sean to blank the end.
Take it out to those wings.
Yeah, but not the same exact place you had it before, probably. Not where they've already thrown. You want to find...
Only discussion is do we go to the wing on the opposite side of the 12, but yeah, he is a couple feet
Yeah,
off, and that's a
and then
strategy.
the other discussion is if you put it in the center, you could be making it harder to roll out. He's got to hit a little less of the rock to roll out, so
Not to
that might be part of what they're considering too.
Haven't played down there in a few stones now. There's been a handful of consecutive stones played at that 12-foot hit.
Yeah, it's been everything's been played to the outside for a while now.
Over on sheet C, Jonathan Gibbons, all too familiar scenario. We've got a center guard up there repeating their approach to the 4-foot. He's looking to line it up to run it back. And he's got John Corelli try and do exactly that.
Yeah, Team Zakin's been doing well at setting up these ends without the hammer. They've set up good steal situations in both ends without too much danger themselves. And that's the best you can do when you don't have. I mean, if you don't have the hammer and you're making them chase every end, you're doing a great job.
They do so far have seemed to have had a great control over not allowing Team Gibbons to play the shots or the gameplay they prefer.
Yeah.
We are looking at a cat and mouse.
All right, we go back there. The draw by Quan came up short, so Sean's just going to throw through, I think. And, yeah, with Craigie there standing behind the house, actually, with his broom. Now, they will look at they'll probably look at playing a line they haven't thrown yet just to take a look. And, yeah, you can see Sean's actually telling him, what he wants
Always
to
my
throw.
favorite call. Even if I'm just trying to throw a one guard.
Oh, yeah,
say,
good
let's
example.
A free stone, and let's practice.
Don't waste it. Throw something you can use.
And by no means leave it in the paint, unless you're willing to live with it.
Unless you really, if you're okay with throwing it away. Well, Sean did decide to just throw it away, and then he didn't want to risk anything. So
he was
which is fine.
testing that,
Now, as much as we say that, it's such a minute thing. And whether you test one line with one rock or not is probably not going to be the decision of the game. So if you decide to just throw it away, you haven't really done anything. It's one of those things people can obviously point out, like, oh, you could have tested a line with that rock there, and it doesn't really make a huge difference. Doesn't hurt, though. If there's something you want to throw, definitely a good opportunity to throw it. As long as it's like a hit weight shot, like a control weight.
Or sometimes I'll just use it to test my draw weight.
But throw it off the sheet, but with the right weight. Yeah, you can do that, too. Yeah.
And then just rely on the sweepers to take it where it needs to.
Sure, absolutely.
John Corelli off with his last stone. Coming in with some pretty good weight to move the top guard, but just didn't curl a whole lot. Was successful in the peel.
Yep.
Team Zakin will have to recover.
Okay. Yeah. Again, the situation, once you get those two guards up, you're in so much...
Oh, sorry. I was just answering a trivia question.
Yeah, hopefully we're not picking up. I don't think we are picking up the music really on here because that actually was one morning with the Yale Curlers. They had a copyright strike. Not a strike, but just a. By the way, you cannot monetize your video because we've picked up copyrighted material in your video. So he had to mute a small portion of the video to put it back up, that sort of thing.
And I would say that's most certainly copywritten material on the radio.
Songs are. So
I think I've heard that song a couple times.
Thanks everyone who's tuned in. I see now that we have 9 listeners, or 9 viewers, I should say. This is not radio, as much as it feels like it from in here.
Who we got as our furthest away, mileage-wise?
We don't know. Yeah, let us know.
Anybody
if
from
you're
out of
tuning
town?
in,
Ellie Bachman?
Well, it might be them tuning in from San Francisco, but I would say if you're not a Nutmeg Curler and you're watching, let us know. That would be interesting to know if we have any...
You said a lot or not?
I said if you're not a Nutmeg Curler and you're watching, I'd love to know that people are just tuning in to watch some curling action. Or any greenhorns who decide to tune in. We've been telling them about it the last couple nights that we'd be broadcasting our playoffs.
We did encourage them to come down. A few had said they would come. Maybe they're still en route. We're just not sure.
We were talking more about next week. So for anyone listening, next week we have our end-of-year playoff party where it's because we have the 2 draws, the early and late draws for the playoffs, including the final at 9 o'clock. We do a potluck. Yeah, do a
food
potluck
and beverage,
party.
I guess, might be the big draw.
That is the big draw. Some good curling, some good food.
Absolutely. Some great times down in the
great atmosphere
lounge.
here that last night of the season.
A bittersweet evening.
Oh, I'm good for now. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Jonathan Gibbons with his first stone on sheet C. Looking to draw down to that shot rock.
I'm going to stick with this just for a little bit.
Does look a bit heavy, not sweeping it.
No, they were trying to get around the guards here and drop one in, I believe. And this one's just going to get back.
Just didn't curl.
So probably leave him sitting second, third.
It does look like, yep.
The only thing with, Zakin can guard his one. If he wants to play it super safe, he could take out one of the yellows because that red's hard to get to anyway. But I like what they're doing, staying It's not even really an aggressive call. It's just not a super defensive call. Just get it up there.
Seems safe in the
Guard and make
best approach.
him draw the other side for one.
Sure. We'll run sheet B. Heidi Fallon remove the one of the yellow rocks that Team Quan had put up.
Yeah. For our people at home, it doesn't look so good on our screen. I'm setting up a dual view of both games so they can see a little.
Yeah, I like that view.
Now that we have the two sides,
I do like that view.
Show you for a minute here as some shots are coming in.
I would have bet.
Don Malner with a nice control hit coming in on sheet B. Byko sweeping the heck out of it. And that's a fantastic team shot.
Yeah, held it just enough.
Line was well called, and David swept a ton out of that stone.
All right, you'll like this effect, Mike, because now that we're back to just the one game in action, we're going to merge over to
that is the effect I love so much. I saw that at home viewing a few times.
To the 3-4 game here as Mark Zakin tries to set up a guard, and it was looking like they called it to, if he can just barely count, that would be nice. And this is going to go a little deeper than they wanted, but still pretty effective because that's actually a nice split down.
Biting the button, well placed.
The only thing that's bad about that, if John wants to throw the shot, is that it probably leaves a double for 2, or
possibly
it's hard, 3. Even 3. Hard to get the first rock out. You have your yellow. It has to go over the top of the yellow, so you have to throw a lot of weight. Or you have to hit that front rock into the second one so thin that it goes straight out the back. But they're makeable shots. This is certainly there. It's not easy.
We know he loves his hits.
Oh, and
we know he's great at his hits.
And he can throw the weight, certainly.
And I certainly anticipate him throwing a hit.
I think so. They're not even looking at the draw the other way. They're looking at this hit all day. It's still early enough. He's not going to be happy to give up another steal one, but he's not going to be desperate at all, even if he does. If he's down 3-0 after 3, he can play normal curling for at least the next couple hits still.
Could well be setting up to be one of those classic, just hang in there for a little bit, a little bit longer until we all kind of collectively find the ice and polish up the game. They've been right in this, and as soon as they can put something up on the board.
And, could very well happen here depending on how this. So you just saw on the left side of your screen, Quan has a little bit of a split house here, setting up pretty nicely. Not necessarily for a steal, but a force, although there is a double possible here for
Jonathan Gibbons out of the hack like a bullet.
Yeah, we're going back to that game full screen.
Wait. It's just taking a little longer to curl, but he's got contact
close,
with the top.
But it will remove one,
on the back,
jams the second one.
He did cut it down. And looks like, yet again, Team Red Zakin will steal on sheet C and take the 3-0 lead after 3.
Yeah, they're... And they can't complain about how any of these ends have set up so far. Zakin has had the game they want to play. Just missed the double there.
Mike McCarthy, wow. Well thrown and well called, and that did just sail by to give Robert Quan a chance to resplit the house.
Yeah. Robert's just deciding exactly where he wants it. There's, plus and minus. It's early enough in the end where while splitting the house is good and not leaving, he wants to leave something in the front of the house, and he splits. The reason he thought about just lining them up and leaving a double is that if you go to the other side, you make it almost impossible to throw a double if you put it in the right spot. But Sean could call for the hit and roll rather than the double and hit and roll in front of the other one and then maybe set up a deuce. So there's, plus and minuses. I think this is the right call. That's why he probably had a momentary thought of just setting up the straight run back double. The problem here is this one looks a little deep and might just be going through the house.
They're each certainly masters at the game. With the
definitely two skips who know what they're doing out there. And it looks like Sean might be starting to change tactics here. Earlier in the game, I think you would have seen him throw the hit again. It looks like he's thinking about the freeze.
Although he would definitely throw that hit.
Yeah, earlier, but now down 2-0. They're in the fourth end. He's starting to think about scoring. And there's not much risk of trying to throw the freeze here. If you miss it, you're probably still going to be able to get your one at the end. There's no setup for a steal or anything. So.
And he's got Craig Doucette in the house, so when you're asking to sit on a stone in the back 8.
Oh, you know he's very capable of making that
He's a
shot.
very capable man to do it. Sweepers got on it about halfway down, very briefly. It's just not curling that much. It seems to be really straddling that
A
center line.
little fast. It's gonna get there. It's just gonna, yeah,
Leave
kick
them
it out.
both in the
Unfortunately,
house.
leave it in play, which could bring the force back if they can hit and roll away.
Yes.
Just, yeah.
Just didn't quite
Yeah.
curl enough. Bico looking at a fairly standard hit on that.
Edge of your seat.
They're sweeping Brian Tully's stone in on sheet C. They're looking to bring it down to guard, I suppose. It just ran into some frost.
That was Rana's.
Oh, my
Some-
apologies. That was Rana's stone.
Got some excellent feedback there from Kelly Jensen, who told me to reduce the master volume a little bit because we were clipping a little bit on the sound. Our mics were a little hot.
just me. Hi, Kelly.
And Kelly says better now. Thank you for the text, Kelly.
You know I have a big mouth. I'm sorry?
And
Craig Doucette just
I
missing
don't
on the
think he
double peel.
quite made the double. I think that's still in play if we look at
Is
the
that in
nearby
play yet? I
house.
think it might be, but
It is definitely still in the house, yeah.
Okay,
So that's
so we gotta-
unfortunate.
hanging on by a thread in the back of the 12-foot for Team
Just
Quan. And
going to be the kind of pain in the neck stone that will stop you from blanking if
I
you want
was-
to blank.
thinking the very same, Elizabeth. I'm
Very
seeing some
masculine
huffing and
about-
puffing on sheet C.
Something very masculine about that.
Jonathan Gibbons, I concur. Jonathan
Yeah.
Gibbons came out to loan a hand. For
Excellent,
those of us who do subscribe to the third sweeper does contribute. I, at a minimum, think absolutely contributes something.
It's a moral thing, if nothing else, and you're helping. You can jump in and
Absolutely.
be the second or first sweeper and help too. You're fresher. and,
Absolutely.
yeah, doesn't hurt. There's no way for it to hurt. That's for sure.
Crew comes to mind with that.
They can go
That
after the shot
coach.
stone here. You could argue hitting either stone, and that's fine, and that is going to roll out though. So now John can try to set up his deuce.
Alright. Let's see what we got now.
Robert Quan bringing in his first stone. Try to resplit the house on sheet B. David Bykowski looking to deliver it right into the top four to the tee line. And they've got every bit of it.
Oh, Joel is.
Might have left it in position for a double. It's a little on the thin side. If any hits and rolls in front, that might be what Sean should really be thinking about. If you hit and roll right in front of that one, set up your deuce. If you get the double, that's okay too.
Brian Tully's last stone on sheet C.
Just needs to
Like a
stay
rather
around.
nice
Does not,
stone, and
oh,
it
is
just
it
didn't
just
curl much.
going out?
Mark Zakin working it.
And I think he did get it
I
out
think
of
he
there.
did bring it out, yes.
Well, that's unfortunate. That was
Just a bit too deep.
yeah. It just needs to be. If it's 6 inches lighter, it's fine back there. There's really no problem with having it back there with the hammer. And yeah, well, that's too bad. We'll see how that end plays out. That's actually the first really clean end we've had over there on C. And it all started because I know the first rock for Team Zakin, I didn't see what the call was, but it went in the house, and that allowed the end to play out a little cleaner. They've been throwing good center guards on C. They've most ends been playing very, a lot of guards, and
They're certainly putting them up with regularity.
good sweep there on C to get that rock out of there.
Very well swept. Yeah,
And there
Brian
it is.
Walker
That's
does
the
move
shot
it out
for
of the
Sean.
rings.
It
It's a nice
is
shot.
Not
There's
bad.
this, Sean Main over on B with a rather nice lie.
Yeah, so if we take a look at that house real quick, he's, not quite dead in front of it, but very close to it.
Robert Quan certainly feels and is going to also try to
Yeah.
remove it.
So certainly certainly you can get rid of that red. That's not an issue. You're probably going to leave either a double or remove your backer or lose the shooter. One of those three is going to happen. So Sean's probably in better position to blank than he was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Sean's in better position to blank than he was before that shot. Is the point? They can't re-split the house really effectively here on B.
Now they're going to have to take something.
Yeah.
Robert Kwan off with a
Sweeper's running
very
real quick.
smooth-looking hit.
Well, they're off. It looks like it must be pretty close.
Looks like it's coming in really nice.
Don just cleaning and should get it out of there.
Got
and
the
roll out.
inside of it, peels the shooter.
Yep.
Leaving just their original shot in the back of the 12-foot.
I'm imagining Sean wants to hit and roll out. He might. I do
see
think the blank
Michael
is still right.
Parker successful in the hit, although they did spill from the rings in the back. With just that one stone remaining, biting the top 12.
And we can see here, Team Gibbons really looking, now they're in the fourth end down 3, looking to score. I mean, they have the option of just peeling that red rock and playing to blank, but
yeah, I'd say
down 3 with the potential to get 2 here. I mean, they can come around that rock and set up a deuce still.
Yeah,
so they're going to try to use it rather than eliminate it, which I like it. Yeah,
it is time to score.
Yeah.
Sean Main off with the hammer throw on sheet B. They are sweeping this, but all of a sudden they jumped up, but they're back on it again. And it looks like he's probably going to clip it to the inside, although he did stick.
For one.
They did take the one on sheet B.
Right to the nose. Sean looks a little disappointed in that.
Does look disappointed, but at the end of 4 ends, we're now looking at a score of 2-1. Team Kwan over Team Main. Michael Parker up on sheet C with his second stone. Mark Zakin's looking to bring this in, as with a handful of the others right around that top guard. And it looks really nice out of his hand. Sweepers are on it very hard.
I think they'll make it in there. I
think we're going to get ourselves a split house up top.
Yeah, just trying to get
some
some
nice
of it
touch
buried.
on the weight.
Yeah, very
slightly
nice
buried in very improbable double, so it's in very good shape for Team Zakin.
Yeah, again, I imagine John just doesn't want to try it. There's no reason to play the double and really not play to score. He wants to get an end set up here if he can at all. So he's going to go right after that. Rock in the house.
John Corelli out with some nice control hit weight. Waiting on it to curl, and here it comes. It's just not curling a whole lot.
Just going to sail by out on the outside.
Just didn't quite curl enough. Looking to do the same over on sheet B for Aaron Rush.
Yes.
Taking out the sole red rock in the house.
It came out just in time.
And Byko sweeping it. Got themselves a great hit and a lie in the back 8. Well done.
Yeah, they'll be the Barclays and Brian Walker.
Heidi Fallon up on sheet B, looking to presumably bring that stone down to sit on the shot rock in the back of the 8 foot. Oh, I know what film that is.
All right, so they can
set perfectly sweeping Heidi Fallon stone down to looks like it's just about perfectly frozen to that shot rock. And over on sheet C, Mark Zakin with a nice looking rock on the approach. Headed right down to the top 12. Ran into some frost, and Mikey Parker is sweeping a ton out of it.
Just couldn't quite get it, but that's
well guarded the 4-foot approach. That's certainly a resourceful stone.
So he has options. He can play the hit if he can get through that hole, which there probably is just enough room to get through there. It doesn't
just
mean
enough.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's the right call, but you can, and you can play the double, or you can go around the guard and try to sit one. All options here. Yeah, it's going to be tough to get through that hole and keep your shooter. That's the only issue. Let's go back to our very popular
This is one of
multi-view.
the
I assume it's very popular. It's the first time we've used it, but
And Ed, I can't tell from here on sheet B, was that rear yellow rock just kicked out by the stone that Aaron placed? Or is it still stuck?
I don't see a rock in the back of the house. I believe it's just
so it's just the two.
yellow frozen on red, and the red counting right now. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the red.
Mike Milkman McCarthy also coming in with the nice looking approach, and they're looking to sit right on that as well. Sweepers are on it really hard.
A little.
And they brought it down to the top 8 foot.
Yeah, not badly placed rock at all.
Jonathan Gibbons and Jonathan Corelli having a good evaluation of the line on sheet C. Looks like they're going to take a chance to come through that port. Ed, would you say this is Jonathan's 6th or 7th hit this season?
I mean, he's thrown just about all hits. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an album worth. That's an album worth a listen. That's a good word.
Don Melner with a control hit attempt.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that for now.
Over on sheet B, Dave Bykowski with
looking to get rid of both, and he might actually do it.
And that is a fantastic double takeout by Don Melner, with a great display of some of that directional sweeping by Dave Bykowski.
Quick little replay of that one. How about that?
Are we able to do that, Ed?
Oh, we can. Look at that. We can bring that back in.
That's fantastic.
Take a look at that replay.
That is a beautiful
beautiful double, and definitely not an easy one. That's for sure.
While we were focused there, it looks like we've had a direct change over on sheet C. Team Gibbons is now alternatively going to curl around the high guard and try to get themselves to the 4 foot.
Yeah, sit one and see if they can't sit a second shot. Sit one and.
This is one of the greatest films, probably top 10. We can't say it, but my gosh, this is one of the greatest 10.
Not the Last Waltz? You can say it. It's saying the name of a...
We can't say the name of the film, though.
You can absolutely say anything you want. Okay. We can't play the film or the song on the...
Easy Rider.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
John trying to get in there, and I think he's just a little heavy, but he does sit second shot.
And I know Scott Fallon saw Easy Rider. In fact, he probably lived it. As did Mr. Alpheus Winter. Greg Doucette in the hack for a pretty standard open hit on sheet B. Trouble being Robert Kwan left them with a perfectly split house. Up weight out of their hands, and the sweepers are on it immediately. Looks like Sean May must have hit the inside of this and roll close back to center as able. And that's a great shot.
A great shot. Even close to the second.
They just crashed right on that shot stone, hadn't they, Ed? Beautiful shot.
Yeah, sitting one and brought the rocks very close together.
That's a fantastic shot. There comes Mark Zakin on sheet C with his last stone, and they're just looking to put this under cover in the 4 foot.
Yeah, let's watch this one come in
here. Does
here.
look a little heavy, although we've been getting a great finish out on the frosty part of the sheet, slowing down nicely. It just isn't curling a whole lot. Michael Parker's on it to make sure
And
it
he
gets a
actually
little
maybe
deeper.
should not have gotten on that because it's going to drop back to third shot.
Jonathan Corelli made sure he took it at least to number 3 stone.
Well, a big.
Now we're seeing Jonathan Gibbons, Ed, come at that port and get himself a stick for the deuce, which that puts ourselves into a hotly contested match.
Yeah, definitely a big shot. If you can get through that port and maybe take a look overhead just to show how small it is.
And get up and take as close a look from behind as I can.
And there's certainly room for a rock, but it's not much more than that.
Not much more than that. And I just love the spirit of his having the desire to come through here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like it's curling, but it is getting really close.
Close, but he's just going to catch the corner.
And they did clip, so we're looking at yet another steal of 1 for Team Zakin.
Yeah, it's a 4-0 at the halfway mark.
And there's still plenty of match remaining.
Oh, sure. They're going to want to score multiple here at some point soon, obviously, but time to do it for sure.
There's some laughter off in the back. They're rocking it at the Nutmeg Curling Club Lounge tonight.
Laughing at you.
Of course, yours truly. Laughing at, laughing with, it's all good. And I'm sure Scott Fallon, as a guitarist extraordinaire, would know that special sound by Brian May was levied via a shilling.
All right.
Don Main and Craig Doucette having a thorough look at the extremely split house.
Long and flat double there.
Certainly attainable, though, Ed.
I mean, I don't think it's impossible, but you'd have to throw a ton
pretty
of weight.
Big weight, and
I don't know that we can throw that weight here at Nutmeg Curling Club.
Nothing else. Just try to get over in the general vicinity, maybe 2-3 stones from it.
Yeah, if you can get them closer together again, it improves your chances. Although this is Sean's last rock.
Could throw that weight.
I mean,
You may well be onto something there, Scott. I think she could, couldn't she?
Absolutely. She could throw wicked.
And I know
Not too long ago.
our dear friend Mickey Manicatiti would throw that weight, too.
of course.
Oh, but Joanna Owens, definitely.
Joanna would throw that
I'm
weight.
talking about when she wasn't using the stick, when she used it to take out.
I actually don't think this has that much weight on it. I mean, it could. So you could, if it hits, it'll have a chance to roll over to the other one. But actually, oh no, flashed it on the inside. Gonna leave Quan with a draw for 3 here to really break open the game.
That is the turning point in this match.
Yes,
Don May
certainly.
not happy with that, needless to say.
No.
Roberts got the essentially a wide open draw.
That was Sean.
Yeah, that was his last rock.
No, he's got one more.
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, that was
apologies.
the
Those were
first
just
skip
first
rock. Sorry, I
rocks.
missed
We were
the
each to the impression.
yeah, our fault. So he's got one more shot here.
Thank heavens we got our handy dandy statistician on hand, Scott Foley.
So over here on C, Gibbons sets up a corner guard. After the first Zakin rock was hogged, second one's a very nice center guard there. Setting up for
Well
another end
thrown
with
by Rana
plenty of rocks
Zakin.
in play.
Rana Zakin, the president, general manager, and CEO of Team Zakin.
I believe it.
And Trish Ryan with a nice looking stone, looking to go out there in the frost, come around that center guard, and this looks fantastic if the sweepers bring it there. And I'm standing right behind this stone and just watching it disappear behind that guard. That is one beautiful shot, Trish Ryan. Got herself right down, actually covering the pin. Nearly entirely buried. My friend Trish. Robert Kwan with his approach on his hammer, and looks like
First
they're
rock.
gonna.
His first rock. would
Oh,
be,
I'm sorry. We got ourselves in that state of mind.
Yeah.
First rock he just placed into the
Right.
back 4 foot, just past the tee line.
It looks like Sean's going to try to freeze on that now that he has the opportunity.
And I imagine that's his most prudent opportunity.
Yeah, it would either have to do that or hit and roll on.
Or make
if you
some
want to
kind of double or roll in front. Or
hit and roll
he's
2-1 on the left would work. You could try that too, but I like this too. I think this is.
I like to sit on this.
You don't have to freeze perfectly. If you over curl just slightly and like 3/4 of a rock on the yellow, as long as it's on the left side, is good because you'll leave the
just
jam
get there though, right?
Yeah,
Just
you have to
get
be
there.
close. You have to be close.
Tell by the
Team Gibbons already sitting one behind the center guard and looking to pile in a second one here. This could be setting up fairly well for them.
Brian Tully off with his first rock. Nice looking release. Sweepers gave it a little bit at first, and now they're escorting it in. Sweeping it at the end, presumably give it a little tap, spread them out a little bit. Got themselves a split house on sheets.
Yeah, they're sitting 2. That one is open for a potential hit and roll, but they're not going to be happy with it. Yeah, Sean's rock coming in here, just
Sean
sitting
is
wide and
just,
not getting there,
hot.
and goes right through. And now we are corrected as the Hammerstone, and Robert Kwan has a draw for 4
Yes, he does.
with plenty of stones to play on.
That ain't good.
Starting to see some looks of concern on the faces of Team Maine, but still plenty of match to go.
Oh yeah, they will not be shaking, but they'll know they'll have to get something going in the 6th if
Really
regardless
time
if
to
this is,
start rallying.
regardless of whether this is 3 or 4, they're going to need to rally in the 6th with a multiple to stay in the game. Okay, nice hit there by Brian Walker. Didn't quite bury on the hit and roll, so he is going to have Gibbons is going to have the opportunity to hit this. I think he's thinking about what kind of weight he wants to throw.
Brian Tully patiently awaiting instruction.
Yeah, John looking at it, it would be easier to roll behind the corner guards, but you will probably jam on the back yellow if you do that, which isn't even necessarily a problem as long as you're counting 1, but he'd rather not. If he can roll behind the center and keep both yellows in play, he'd prefer to do that.
That being your big risk there. From behind here, it does look very probable. Under pause, they're
Robert
taking
Kwan.
a look at that Robert Kwan
Really
stone.
trying
They
to
are really
get it.
sweeping it.
They're sweeping it hard.
And I'm just not sure if they quite
They got it in there. They
did
got it all
get
the way to
there
the 8 foot for a 4 spot
for
there.
a 4. And
Count them up, as they would say.
like we've got a 6-1 Team
Yeah,
Kwan
that's
over
gonna make
Team
this-
Maine after 5 ends. Brian Tully with a heavy draw type looking shot. I'm just waiting on it to curl. It's coming in rather nice. Should do something to move that shot stone.
Yeah, this might
Didn't
actually get
catch
it
a
over the
whole
top
lot of
and
it,
sit
but
1
boy, that
2.
was one fancy shot.
Perfect to get them
That
to
is
sit
a
1
beautiful shot.
1 2
Team
far
Gibbons,
out of the
Brian Tully.
1 2 and far out of the center too. Not leaving plenty of scoring area for them to work with.
Or as we've sometimes heard it said, Tully Tully. Well split house. Something for teams aching to think about all of a sudden. Well, they're safely
Mark, I'm
taking
thinking
that
in his
opening rock
mind-
through on sheet B. It was a
I feel
little
like in
hotter
his
than that.
mind he would love to draw around, but he knows he has a 4-point lead and that hitting is the prudent play, and that's what he's looking at. Yeah, just to cut down the potential damage here.
I thoroughly agree. No need to get yourselves into any unnecessary hot water. And you got reliable Michael Parker on the delivering end.
This is hanging out a bit wide, though, it looks like.
It is. I think we're going to
think
get there. And it coming
it's
back
back.
in
It's
the very
fine.
end.
It's
and
fine, yeah.
He's got the removal.
Moved quite a bit. I was
I see.
throwing some rocks on Sunday and seeing they were moving quite a bit, too, so that makes sense, yeah. All right. Good rock there from Michael Parker, and Gibbons now going to look to hit and roll right behind, it looks like.
I'd say those are your marching orders for John Corelli. Although he is having a bit
You
of a
could certainly argue for
reevaluation,
just
and
drawing.
that's
It's
gonna
not
be
like
the-
you're hitting to sit 5 or something. You could draw around and sit 1 with a better 1, as opposed to
could.
not quite as good a 2 when you hit here, because like both your rocks are behind the tee line. So you could do either one. I don't think it's wrong to hit here, especially if that's what you're comfortable throwing.
I myself would be comfortable with the hit.
Yeah.
Like the heavy draw hit, doesn't it? I'm definitely looking to hit and flop behind
It's okay
that
if it
car.
rolls
It's
either way, really.
It is a nice looking stone. If they
Just on the
not
nose.
quite the roll, but it's in a good position. Well
So we
done,
take a
John
quick look
Corelli.
in there at the house, and you'll see yellow definitely sitting 1-2, both open, and
Watch him both.
Yeah, Eric
Michael
Sebastian
Parker.
came by to say hello in the lounge. What's up, brother?
watching this rock from Mike come in, it looks like it should make contact. Hard to say where from in here, but we're going to get.
Checking in on sheet B, Heidi Fallon looking to throw up another nice corner guard.
And it's,
Apologies, no, they're going to come down to that shot rock instead. This looks like a fantastic stone, which is
Little heavy,
little
huh?
bump, slightly heavy. Stays in the back of the 8 foot.
So over on C, Parker did make the hit, but rolled out and actually removed the other back red. So yellow's sitting 1 in the corner, and now just going to draw around the center guard and try to sit 2 with their shot rock buried if they can get it there. Potential to set up a pretty good end here for them if they can make this. This is a big shot though, and
This is a big shot at him. This could turn this match right back
Mr.
into
Corelli
it.
looks frustrated with it. I think it is heavy.
Mark Zakin on the sweep and
Yeah, and that's
that
just going
much
right
at that.
through. So if we look back, there's still 1 yellow.
One yellow in the house and skip stones.
Yellow's available to you. It's not an easy shot out there near the wall. Can be a little tricky, and especially from the right-handed hack, I imagine you're not going to see very much at all of that yellow rock. So Zakin considering what to do. He can just draw around and play to steal.
Looking right at that 4 foot, aren't they?
Sure. Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all.
Yep. They set the ice, and that's going to be the verdict. And Mike McCarthy off with a control takeout on sheet B. Looking to remove the Team Quan stone from the 4 foot. Ice might be tightening up a little bit because the starting to run a little straighter, but he's got nice removal.
So over in the
2 main rocks in the back of the 12 foot.
over in the 1-2 game, they are sitting 1-2 here for 1-2 in the 1-2 game. He is sitting 2.
Yes, it is.
You see what it is, yeah. But only problem being there is a double there, and that's what Robert's having Don Molnar throw here.
Don Malner, very reliable for this sort of thing, and it's practically not being swept at all.
Yeah, might be
They got a rather good
It's
look
very
at
close.
And he
I
may
believe
have
he-
gotten it, but it could still have left
Take
the
a closer
biter.
look at that near B house. And
While we look at that.
very close. Hard to say
It
if
is
that's in or
hard to
not. In
say.
fact, Sean's even
Sean's
looking at it.
directly over it, so
Yeah, and he's
rely on
unsure
his
that means
body posture, perhaps. But Mark Zakin with a nice looking rock. It did
Just on the
grab a
guard.
little bit too much. Clip the guard.
All right. So Gibbons going to look to sit 2, and if he gets a miss, he can.
Got himself an opportunity to at least get the 2, and potentially
Certainly
more,
a
doesn't
chance
he?
for 2 here. In fact, that's hard to imagine a way to absolutely guarantee you don't give up 2 if Gibbons makes a good shot here.
Yeah, this all of a sudden could become a precarious position for Team Zakin.
Oh, certainly.
I've seen it many times. Hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. All of a sudden, one end, things can turn around quite a bit.
You see that's sailing to the back of the house, but sticking around for Sean. So he's sitting 1 or 2. Hard to say. It looks like Robert might not be sure either because he's pointing as though he'd like to at least
Yeah,
move
he
it
would
an
love
inch
to
make
come
sure.
over on that carom from the hit, just to make sure, and a little
Yeah.
insurance to just kiss it, and it would certainly have to be out if not already. Bico certainly with the weight to do it.
That looks like it's over curling though.
It's,
over curling
it
a lot.
is, and it
They're
is
just holding it
by
to
the
right.
actually,
Oh, did not get
apologies.
by the guard. And did
Oh,
not
and
almost
we're
tickle.
still got a mystery on whether or not there's a biter in the back 12. Consensus in the lounge saying it is out. Jonathan Gibbons off with his first rock. It seems like it might be a little heavy. They're not sweeping it.
They're not touching it, and they're just watching it go.
Seen a couple of heavy rocks come through on each sheet. Rink is definitely well up to speed. Craig Doucette's first stone coming in rather nicely to the top of the, just about biting the top of the 4. Not buried under the guard, but a well split house.
Yeah, definitely sitting 1-2. We think not 3. Looks like it's out.
Potentially
the overhead does look close. I can see why they looked at it a few times, but looks like it's out. And
very important shot for Dave Bykowski. Nice looking release on this takeout. Robert Kwan just waiting for it to arrive. Making sure they get the top one and maybe even run it into something else. But they did get the peel of the shot stone. Leaving Team Maine with possibly 1, but possibly 2 in the house.
We're going to assume 1 until we hear otherwise, but yeah, that's certainly possible that
they're sort of acting as it's in the house. And now Robert Kwan, wouldn't you know, is directly over it like a...
Yeah, it's very.
It must be
I can tell it's very close.
They've each had that straight over posture.
Yeah. Yeah, when they're real close, you can't tell from in here, and you can't tell from the cameras certainly because it's just
at this juncture in the season with temperature shifts, the ice might dip, reflooding.
I didn't consider that, but that's also a factor. You never know.
Have been known at the club to shift ever so slightly,
even if they're just slightly off. Right?
Even if they're just slightly.
Very nice shot there by Mark Zakin to bury.
Jonathan Gibbons having a real good evaluation of this last rock coming in. This is a huge shot in the match.
It really needs to score here.
Yes. Just going to try to come in. Ed, do you think he can get the weight? Probably not. With the, just doesn't
I don't think he can
swing
move.
that much.
I just don't think he can move enough because
just
Mark
to get in to get the 1, presumably.
Yeah, Mark got pretty close to the guard, so with that weight to get by. So if you threw any more weight, I don't think you'd. I think you might. You could get half the rock. It just. I don't think you're moving enough to bump it past 2. your. Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, but by all means, you got to take yourself the
gotta
1
get a, gotta get
somebody will score. Looks good out of his hand, and it's headed right for that port. Sweepers just got on it about 2/3 of the way down.
Yeah, they've been on-off.
Now they're starting to put it a little more pressure.
Oh, now they got to go. This is just a little light. It's close, but they've got to go.
And
they're working it. They're going to get it to the 4-foot, but not
just
close enough. It's going to be 1 red.
Another steal for Team Zakin.
And Zakin still...
And we're looking at the score of 5-0 Team Zakin after 5. Robert Kwan with a nose hit on sheet B to count the number 1 stone.
Sean just looking to keep setting things up and get at least a couple points here. I'm going to mute you then.
Make a move.
All right, we're going to turn off the commentary for just a moment here. Be right back. All right, we're back. Over on sheet B, we've got Sean Main ready to throw his hammer shot. And right now, yellow's sitting 1, red sitting 2nd, and very questionable as to whether or not the other Red Rock is in the house. So Sean trying to play a hit here and stick around. And he will do it. He'll get to nose and take it out. And now the question of the day is whether that is 2 or 3 red. It is going to be a biter bar. My guess would be it's out, but that is very close. There appears to be some action on whether or not this rock is in or out of the house. Not high stakes action, but certainly some.
Try 30 cents. Good enough.
Oh, okay. Well, no, no bets for. I haven't had a good look at it, honestly. It's in. Big point there. 3rd point for Sean Main. Gets it to score. Makes the score 6-4. Right back in the game. Team Main is going to have to steal some points to get back in this one in 7 and 8. But as we enter the 7th, they are now down only 6-4.
Wow, you and I both thought.
That must have been the one.
Yeah, still a lot of discussion about that rock in the warm room and who won and lost. Always trust the people on the ice. You cannot tell from the camera better than they can tell looking right over, and if they weren't sure, it was close. You definitely can't tell from in the warm room looking at it because the angle's very bad from, a few feet away. You got to be right over the rock. All right. On sheet C, as Gibbons looking to make a comeback here, down 5-0. They are sitting 1 behind a mess of guards. Going to be very hard to ever remove that rock. So the task for Team Gibbons is, what do we do to set up a score of many points?
Was it really?
It was in team. So
By maybe an eighth of an inch.
just click that. Now Michael Hope back from
Pinto
short
back,
break.
and I understand I was on the short side of a contest. Are we calling it, Scott? Was the rock
There was some
to
discussion.
be or not to be? And it was in fact in the ring. So you guys aren't pulling a fast one.
No, it was score is now 6-4. They scored 3 there, man. So they're right back in things. They
Things
are
that could happen over a camel.
down 2 with 2 to play.
Certainly a much more tightly
unfortunate
contested
for-
match on sheet B.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, unfortunate for
They're just not
Team
getting
Gibbons
the
there,
swings that
just-
they require.
just clipped that guard and may have opened up their shot rock. I mean, it's certainly it's a tough hit, but it's certainly you can get to it now probably.
I'll come back with you because I need more ice. Edward, you got a
I'm good.
fresh
We're-
beverage?
So gonna stay with the action here on C for a few rocks.
And
just
I'm
at least this
wondering
rock, we'll
if
see
we
if-
buy my old friend Jonathan a beer.
That's a lot.
My ice. Oop, I believe that beep means I just went out of range.
Possibly. No, you're still good. It's probably warning you. That's all.
What does Jonathan Gibbons usually drink? Like a Two Roads IPA or a Lagunitas?
I'm not 100% sure. He mixes
Actually,
up his beer
Can
selections.
you hand me a closed bottle of each? I'll present it through the window.
You hear some inside baseball.
I know
about
he's an IPA kind
alcohol
of guy.
delivery is on the broadcast, thanks to Mike Hope. So
wearing a
Michael
few
Parker's
hats tonight.
attempted hit there did clip the guard. Had a hey, Robert Kwan's mother watching all the way from British Columbia.
Hello,
Thanks for
Mrs.
tuning
Kwan,
in.
and
Anne, we have Anne Kwan.
so to speak. So lovely to see you, Mrs. Kwan.
Yes, we've met her.
was,
She's come to the club before. We've
Met
said hello
Mrs.
to her
Kwan a
before.
few times.
Yeah.
Eric, you need a drink.
So there are a few options for team
So I
Gibbons here.
guess that would have to definitely settle the furthest distance. From
Yeah, it
British
appears that she
Vancouver.
has one. So Gibbons looking at a bunch of different options here. One request an unnamed person sent me via text was perhaps they could try to freeze one on the back red. Sit second shot. You could do that. That rock may or may not be out counting the front red and would
I think
could be
they'd
easily out
safe
count
to
later.
be safe too, wouldn't they, if they sat on that?
Yeah, you could definitely throw one in that back direction because it's not easy for Gibbons here.
Asking for a little input from his vice, John Corelli.
At this point they now have a corner guard. I would not be afraid of just throwing one around the corner guard, and if they want to go after that counter again, they can. He's choosing to guard his one. That's not bad either.
And as they've been saying in curling for ages, it is time to score.
All right, we'll go back to the two-house view so you guys can see what's going on in the other game as well. Just give me a second to set that up.
Don Melner with a big hit on sheet B. Cleared a lot of granite from the center line. Making no surprise, once again, things fairly wide open on sheet B.
So Gibbons did not actually get the guard he asked for, but instead drew around the top one, which I
actually
think is a
kind of
very
like
nice
that result. That's not a bad outcome.
100 people. We only have one speaker.
Dark? Elizabeth, I think that's a dark beer. Do we have what is it, a black and tan in the can, or Guinness? We still have Guinness stout on?
All right, Parker now trying to throw a hit here. Nice late hit. May just clip the guard
It was
again.
Very well thrown stone. It did
Yeah,
just
just didn't
overcurl
quite
ever
get
so
the-
slight.
Yeah, it could have been just a miscommunication or a... Good night, Danielle. See
Good
you
night,
on
Danielle.
Friday?
Yes.
Okay, see you.
Cool hat.
Bye.
Yeah, once again, Tom Malner, deja vu with big hit weight. Robert Kwan wants to just make absolute certain to clear those center guards, and he did shave across the top of the other one with a
Actually removed
beautiful
the back one,
double.
too. Yeah,
He sure did.
definitely taking a lot of the
Tom
potential.
Malner really pleased with that, as should be.
He removed 4 stuff.
Was it 4? I didn't see the last.
2 and 2.
Okay. Oh, and the 2 shots.
Yep. Huge shot from Don Malner there to take out a lot of the, more so than moving
5,
so many
I guess,
rocks.
if you count the shooter, right, Scott?
I think he was counting
It
the
was
shooter.
and
for
the
4.
shooter, too. It was 2 and then 3.
Yeah, 4 counting the shooter, I think he meant. But, yeah, it was... but that takes away a lot of the potential for a steal now. It makes it much harder for
Yes, it does.
Sean to set anything up.
So here we go on sheet C with Jonathan Corelli's last rock, looking to bring it down to put a third into the house. We're just waiting on it to curl, and it is headed toward the pin. Going to make some connection with the one in the back 4 to split them pretty nicely.
Yeah,
we
definitely
are
not.
starting to get a little perilously close for Team Zakin.
It's an issue here of having to make shots at this point.
But, gosh, 2.
He can still get out. Mark can still get out of this end without too much damage, but he is going to have to make a good shot here on one of his 2 rocks. Well, down weight.
David Byko up with a hit. Just Robert Kwan wants to hit everything they can see in the typical
Yeah, and have to
fashion.
leave some rocks in play too, because I mean, they'd be happy to take one, but if a 3-point lead certainly wouldn't be a guarantee going in the 8th, and if they have these rocks spread out, they're either, if Sean doesn't steal, he's going to give up a bunch at this point. So not only has Kwan taken away a lot of the potential for a steal here, he's also potentially setting up a big end
Yes, he is.
to put
isn't
the
he?
game away and just end it after 7.
And we know that thought is constantly running through Robert's mind. Brilliant, Skip.
Yeah, so you can see there on the left that Yellow's got 3, and red, Sean Main's going to try to come around that solo yellow on the right.
Just before Mark Zakin's coming out with his first rock, he is looking to remove some granite. Nice smooth looking delivery, Mark, with the control weight. Sweepers are on it pretty consistently. And they did just have them come up for a second, and they sure got it.
I got one of them, yep.
And they stopped in a rather nice position. I believe they might be second shot on that.
Let's take a quick look at that overhead. It's I'm going to say yellow is still 1-2, but it is very close.
Rather close.
Yeah. Camera appears that it's 1-2.
Ed, there was a club we played years ago, and we weren't there while it happened, but right before we got there for a tournament, and I want to say it might have been Albany, they said right a night or two in league play before we got there, they had a rock that was to the plain sight, not in the house, but because one of their players was keen enough to remember that they did have a partial melt, and the ring shifted, they got the biter bar out and actually clipped the rock. Which is almost a just counterintuitive concept. You're seeing the rock clearly out of the house by an inch and a half, and when they brought the constant, the biter bar in from the pin, which the pin is the gospel, they came around and clipped the rock, and it ended up being.
I feel if your rings are that far off, you have kind of a duty to repaint them at that point. Because I don't know that I'd be happy that the team that was visually clearly out of the house scoring. I mean, it's one thing if the rings are off by a quarter inch or less, and it's like, it's hard to tell if they're in or not, and you use the biter bar to distinguish. But if it's out by so much that everyone would agree that, oh yeah, it looks out.
We had that one year with the big storm when the power was out for five plus days, where we didn't get a generator in here until I think the third day, and our rings shifted a little. Paint dropped quite a bit.
Pin shift.
No, the rings were good. The paint moved around.
The pin did shift slightly that year. Alf's right.
Pin moves, you got problems.
Well, the pin doesn't move. The pin stays where it is.
Yeah, I mean they re-drilled it, and we knew with the measurement where to put it, but it did I guess wobble, so to speak, a little bit.
So Sean goes to the back of the house on his first one there. First rock coming up for Gibbons.
This is a big power shot. This is the shot he loves. This is the shot he can do so frequently.
It does look like he decided to play the hit, yeah. He was considering freezing to the front one on the top 8, and then setting up potential 4 by corner freezing.
That would be a great 2-shot.
But that's also a very difficult shot, so I can see why he might decide to play it a little.
And on this tight ice, Ed, this is expected to be a firm shot.
Now he may be drawing to sit 3. That's what he's doing here.
Right, you are. He is in fact with a soft touch. Sweepers are on it. Looks rather nice. Hearing some encouragement from the lounge.
Gotta go.
If it's going to be that high, they may want to leave it to make the tap harder
save
for
the 2.
Zakin. Yeah, make it harder for Zakin to play that tap.
And I'm sorry, we have confirmation that they are sitting the 2, yes?
I mean, there's no 100% confirmation, but I believe they are sitting 2.
Fairly confident. From here, it looks that way.
I think that shot call also suggests they were sitting 2. Yeah, that shot call would suggest that they were
I would agree. It would have
drawing
to
to sit 3. Now, they're looking at some potential options here to try to get rid of one or more of those 2 rock yellow counters. While they're discussing in the near house, I'll just take a look. We're also looking at the back house.
What song is this? I think it's Rock Lobster. Where was the, oh gosh, there is a rock somewhere out there in the GNCC named Rock Lobster. And
that is at Schenectady. It was Red 1.
Didn't we play with that? We had a little bit of a...
Eric Sebastian is not a fan of the Rock Lobster.
No, in fact, I think, yeah, there we go.
Just gave us a thumbs
Eric,
down.
that was Schenectady, yes, for the national, club playdowns. Was it Lobster? No, because that's
Lobster.
a Maine thing. Lobster.
It was Lobster.
And I do recall that was a little bit of a devil's child. I did say at one point, call the Exorcist, that rockhead character.
All right, so if you're looking at the screen here, what Zakin has decided to play is this sort of angle raise on the red rock. Try to get in there and remove one of the yellows or land his rock on the yellow. Tough shot. He may not feel you can get through that. Maybe the Gibbons rock is tight enough that there's just not a way to get through to his top.
And it's good to be afforded this opportunity. This is a shot that they would certainly appreciate making, but they don't really absolutely have to make it.
Not critical.
As long as they could throw it toward the button and maybe. And this looks rather
pretty
nice.
close.
This is going to come in, I believe, and he just got the
may
back
catch
one.
the back one at least. Yeah,
Mark
so
Zakin,
still
that's
good,
a beautiful shot.
Removed one.
He took the number 2 stone and what we just had assumed to be the 2 stone out of the house, leaving red 2 and 3. And Jonathan's got the safe number 1 stone, but they are really thinking about coming on the outside because
not easy to get your deuce here, for sure.
Not easy, but it's a.
But you need that.
It's
point.
mandatory.
Yeah.
I think this is Rock Lobster. Sorry, Eric. I think this song is Rock Lobster, or something along that.
There's a song. You don't. That's why it was called Rock Lobster. There's a song called Rock Lobster. I don't think.
Let's hope so, because if not, there's one pretty wild story behind that.
Looks like Gibbons is throwing a little angle run here to try to get his 2 now. Maybe
you're right. And I'm thinking David Bowie, because it was late 60s or was it early 70s?
Coming down on the
This was the B-52s. Wrote a song about a very special place, the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
All right, I'm going to flip over.
The Love Shack, yeah. B-52s fell in love with it.
We'll merge into this the dual view because we got 2 important shots coming up here. Sean Main with his last rock in the 7th is looking to throw a freeze.
That was a great year, Scott. It was the year I was born.
A steal or at worst a force. If Sean can get frozen on that back yellow, he'll have
really
a chance
to get frozen on that.
Yeah, and at worst he'd be setting up a force, which would keep him alive in the game. If he can get around the guard, maybe he can get a steal.
And I think so far it's off to a great start. No sweeping. Now they're on it.
Bring you in on that
very
shot.
Good coming in.
They look pretty confident about it.
They look very content, and it is
just got to get
in.
And you want to go. They should get it buried if they can.
Meanwhile,
not a bad rock. Certainly
over
not
on
a bad
C,
rock.
we may be just looking at a on the fly tap,
and he got it.
And
that's
he sure did, and that's a great shot.
Needed
Jonathan.
That one.
I believe there's 2 rocks right on the button there for a score of 2 by Team Gibbons.
Yeah.
To make it 5-2 after the end of 6.
We will replay that one for the folks at home.
That's worth looking at.
Yeah, look at that. Just
look at his skinny
catches
body.
An edge of the red to draw right to the pin. What a shot.
2 eggs over easy, Ed. 2 eggs over easy.
All right, we're going to go back to that far house real quick so we can see this is a critical shot. Could put the game away here for Team Quan.
Yeah. And Robert out of the hack with a fairly firm throw. They just want to clip that redstone out of the house from Team Maine. Very light sweeping on it, applied by Aaron Rush.
Just needs to get a piece of it,
and they just got it. And that's a nice peel, Robert Quan.
That's going to be 4 for Quan, I expect. Yes, there are handshakes there on B.
Congratulations, Team Quan. Headed to the main event next Tuesday at 9 p.m.
Approximately.
Approximately 9 p.m. For those not familiar with the Page playdown system, Team Quan, the number 2 seed, having won this match, has the automatic bid into the championship match. And Team Maine, by way of being in this match, has the double elimination re-entry into the other semifinal. So Sean's season is far from over, and he will play next Tuesday at 7 p.m. against the winner of whoever pulls through on Sheet C.
Yeah, that's right. That's the advantage of with the
finishing in the top
finishing
2.
The top 2. It gives you incentive to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it'll be a semifinal game and a final game.
So they have to play back to back.
You're allowed. You're allowed to do that. You are, in fact, allowed to do that as long as it's before the hog.
You are? Okay. Okay.
That was clarified a couple years back.
Okay.
You're allowed to do the sort of double touch on the rack. Violated it. All right, only one game left on the schedule tonight now. That's the Zakin versus Gibbons game.
And wouldn't you know, the game's tightening up. And gosh, if you just look a little forward, they got their center guard in play, and they're bringing Trish Ryan's second stone around the guard into the house.
I think they're going to be a tighter guard. It's going to be.
Oh, okay. They're stopping it short.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Stopped
so
well
let's think about it.
short.
They're down 3 points
That's a
with 2 ends.
great look at Stone.
Yeah, they're down 3 points with 2 ends to play. They're
Great
going to
look
have
at
to
two
steal.
starter stones, and
Yeah, they're going to have to
Team
steal.
Zakin wants to just bring this one into the house now.
They're going to have to
Pressure is
steal at
on.
least 2 at some point. Team Gibbons is going to have to get a steal of at least 2, and to do that realistically, you're going to need a couple guards. This could.
And they are, now that they've got another one out front, they're on their way for some sort
This
of
is
steal.
going to be a third guard.
And,
Definitely not.
Imagine it's time for Team Gibbons to come around. Yeah, he's very
now
promptly
they're in
pointing to
great
the
shape.
forefoot
I
and the button.
would actually consider drawing the other way because those high guards, it's easier to bury, but you could do either if you were more comfortable, maybe curling more off the other line. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that would tell me why John may be more comfortable coming this way because he feels it's curling more this way.
Yeah, and I guess Brian Tully, he's going to deliver it either way.
Sure, and he may, for all I know, he may want
He's
to
going to
deliver
give
it
you
this way.
a good T-line weight.
Oh yeah, he'll make this shot plenty of times for you.
So here he comes, and they're on it fairly quick. And they're going hard. And they are going hard, and it is diving back.
Down, guys.
Now, one thing we can say is another guard's not the end of the world
Does
either.
look like it's going to clip something out front, and
So-
another guard is exactly what they've got.
We are still, a lot of times, new skips can misunderstand. Like, they're very disappointed to leave that guard up. It's so early in the end. There's so many rocks left to go that
And
that
at
many rocks out
this-
front is good for you. Even that's fine.
At this point, I imagine Team Zakin is going to have to commit to those guards, as we got 4 of them.
Yeah, they could try to peel, but
You got
I
a lot
think
of
he
rocks
feels,
to expend trying to clear things up. Here he is. He's going to come in.
Yeah, Mark Zakin is definitely a live by the sword, die by the sword kind of skip. He wants those rocks in play when he's behind, and he'll go with them even. Now, if there was only one guard, I'm sure he'd be peeling, but now there's 4 out there. He's
4.
not going to try to get out of trouble. He's just going to...
Sweepers are on
Go around.
Brian Walker Stone. They're hard for a
think-
minute, but it seems to have plenty.
So I think they were on it for a line and didn't realize quite how heavy it was. But as it worked out, it's going to be heavy enough where...
Did take it through the house.
Yeah. You'll notice
Opening
that
yet another window of opportunity for Team Gibbons.
Jonathan Gibbons is not even sweeping that rock. I think it was because it was through, but he wouldn't have minded if it had stayed in the back anyway.
And I don't
'cause
think they did get on it aggressively momentarily, but they were
that
up
might have been part of
almost
it.
as
Just,
quick.
it's heavy. Let's get it through.
Yeah,
That could have been it.
and
Yeah.
I don't think they made
Yeah, exactly.
the entire difference in taking it through. Brian Tully's stone to try to come around the company of guards. This is also curling
I think
rather
we're back
tight.
on the guard again.
Is going to clip one of those guards,
Yeah.
rendering yet another guard. So we've
Now-
got some opportunities to get to the forefoot.
Whoever gets there
can
first
get there first.
is going to be in great shape because we don't just have 4 guards. We now have 2 sets of
Yeah,
staggered
it's-
guards that you can't run. I mean, they're both
No, it's
staggered
just,
at such an angle that even with the drag effect, you cannot run that back one straight
Who gets
back.
there first is the story here.
Yeah, this one looks like maybe a little bit of an over-adjustment from Brian Walker because they're on it quick and it looks very light. And they may even be considering hogging it, or are they just...
Oh gosh, and they, we've seen this
Sure.
over the last month or so, where especially when half of the arena empties.
Oh, the ice
We
will
were
frost
16
up, certainly.
curlers, now there's 8 curlers, and I could see a little more frost out there, and the ice
Oh, yeah,
is
I mean,
definitely tightening up.
Go out there, warm it up.
Oh, that would bring some BTUs, that's for certain.
You see that even at the highest levels of play. They talk about that. If a couple games in quick, the ice starts to slow
And
down.
the players
on
get a
other
little
shifts.
colder, muscles will tense up potentially.
What were you saying?
They have different rinks because they have the walls and stuff.
They do, but even then, just the overall heat on the ice, like with people leave it.
Well, when you say rinks, you don't mean different floods. They're all
different
it's
sheets, yeah.
Different sheets.
different sheets, but the
It
dividers.
probably is one flood with just the carpet put in between. them,
Okay.
yeah. Even on the TV is what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
it's one wide sheet. So
Super's
here's
watching
Jonathan
this one too.
Corelli, and
I feel like this one might hang around in the back,
this
but it won't be
has got
counting
a
even if it does.
chance, but
No,
Mark
it's going through.
Mark Sakin did bring it through, or at least off the monitor, so we assume it's through.
Yeah, it went. It did. It went
they're
just
kicking
a couple inches out of the house. Yeah, I mean,
Gives Team Zakin an opportunity to get a little bit closer to
I'm
shutting things down.
not sure what he just called here. It looked like he was
He
calling for a
did tap
corner
for
guard,
a guard up front.
which makes not a
And
whole
now
lot of
he's
sense here.
reconsidering.
Guard his one.
No, Ed, I think he either wants to just get to the 4 foot or
Yeah, now he
stop
might be
short and
looking
just
at-
take
yeah.
the line. Essentially,
Was he maybe saying that's the alternative?
That's his
if it,
alternative.
yeah, if you come up short and you guard the draw to the button, that's
And,
okay.
yeah, I think he's probably got a pretty tight guard weight. Soaring out there, though.
Hard to say in here. This one's still moving fast. I think this is it's close. This is actually gonna be pretty good. They're gonna bring it in, and
And will they give an opportunity to hit something? It's starting to disappear behind
that
those
might go
guards.
just behind. That's very
That is
good.
a well-buried guard, Michael Parker. We got ourselves
Very nice
T-line,
rock.
and it's biting the button. Very little of the rock is visible. Jonathan Gibbons immediately going to the other side, try
Yeah.
to draw the other side of the button.
Wants to beat it that way. You could follow it down and freeze on it for now. That would be another option, but either one is definitely playable. And they've been throwing this line. John may feel like he knows what's going on this line now.
Jonathan Corelli's shot released. Sweepers gave it a little opportunity, but got on it with not a lot of heat. But
They're going.
it
It's
is
close.
really
They've
on the
gotta
move,
go, though.
and they have got to get by that
They
guard,
are
which I
not
don't
by
think
the guard.
they did. Just barely clipped the top, that last guard. Brought themselves into a full 12-foot counter, but about a stone short of being second shot.
Currently third. Now,
And
Zakin looking to take away that draw. There is something here that Zakin probably hasn't considered if he throws this guard. And I imagine knowing John Gibbons, he has probably considered this a lot already. Look at where those red rocks are. There is definitely an in-off double on the two red rocks.
yeah.
And Gibbons
And
likes
you
to throw
know
a lot
what?
of weight.
I like that in-off
if
double,
Zakin-
Ed.
if Zakin-
I really like that in-off
Zakin
double.
could unintentionally take away his draws, and Gibbons hits and sits too and makes it
I
tough.
guess he
mean, that's-
wanted to take away the tap here, but that in-off double is...
I think he's also taken away. They've thrown that line so many times. He doesn't want to keep.
Oh,
giving
he's
them that
going
line.
right past this, Ed.
It's on the guards. Inside.
Oh, I don't know. Is he going to get right between all?
It might just end up being another guard in the mess.
And that's
of all
fine
that.
as well. They don't need to take any huge chances.
That effectively gets rid of that.
Yeah.
And
And they're
there's
looking
Gibbons
right
now.
at it.
Looking at
They're
it.
looking
No,
right at it.
He's going for the draw first.
Never lets us down, does he?
He's going for the draw
He
first.
went-
I think.
Oh, I don't know, because...
I think he knows that'll be there.
Well-
I think he was looking up the draw.
He looks at it.
Oh, gosh.
That one side.
He is looking right at it.
Now he's looking at
We
it.
are all looking at it. We're all looking at it.
We called that one a couple minutes ago. That was
It's
but just
Simeon. Saw it.
that's knowing the player too. But it's a very. I mean, it's a nice angle actually for a double. That's about what you'd like to see if you want to make this shot and stick it because you hit about
Johnny's not afraid to throw that weight.
hit a half a rock or even a little less, and you could just run right into the side of that rock and.
I've seen a little nightlife, little action in the lounge here. Everybody's everybody's chilling.
Sheet be off the ice after a very highly entertaining game. Thank you guys for
Chilling.
putting on a good show for the
Chilling
fans at
leads to
home.
lamping.
Got a lot of rocks in the house.
No, we were talking about the contrast in styles between the two games. That both of you play a more conservative hitting style, and these teams
And
both like
this-
rocks in play. So, if there are
This
any
proves to be a very
if there are any non-nutmeg
energetic
people
shot.
or people who watched Scrolling the Olympics who got to watch, they got to see two very different types of games at the same time. Yeah.
We needed more rocks in the house.
Later in the game when you fell behind.
Yeah.
This is the Jonathan Gibbons shot we anticipate.
Don wasn't having that.
Don did take care of a lot of rocks.
And Don was thorough tonight.
All right, here it comes.
Here
Big
comes
shot here.
Jonathan Gibbons. He's looking to throw some weight with this ice.
We can see him coming out.
He came
nice and
out like a
fast.
bomb. And there it goes. And this looks good.
I think he's
It
flashing.
just isn't going to get there, though. But they threw some atomic weight. There's always second opportunities.
Yeah, he will have
Now
another.
they got to look at the ice. We'll see what Team Zakin has in store on their final rock to, just try to firm that up.
Throwing a second one into count's okay. That pretty much guarantees you won't be giving up steal at 2 right now. If you sit with if you throw this one like they're throwing as sort of a guard, but make sure you count second, then even if Gibbons hits and rolls behind, you're only looking at 1.
Or do you peel your own red rock here and put it to chance?
I don't think that's because you can get to that red this way. I think Gibbons could still count. It just
They can get there.
you can draw. I mean, the guards are high enough that Gibbons could draw on top of it, bounce in an inch or two, steal
We've
that
been
way too.
joined by Sean Main.
On your sheet there.
We're doing all right, Sean. Good to see you. We were just explaining to the viewers about the
Page playoffs.
I guess the silver lining and the fortunateness of the unfortunate turn
why
of
you played
events.
so well all season.
Yeah,
for
we
the
get
opportunity
ourselves a
to lose that
re-entry.
game and come back next week.
Sean will be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. And Sean always brings a burly game.
A burly game.
Gotta stay in it.
You gotta stay in it.
Very
and
good
there you
end
go.
very good end in the 6th to stay in the game.
Yeah.
And you did what you had to do.
No
in the
doubt.
7th.
I did
No
what I
doubt.
had to do. Don versus long lights out. He hit at least.
So this is a shot for the ball game
Yeah,
right
gosh, here we go. Deja vu, right, Ed?
I mean, Don hit
here. You make this, it's a whole new game. You miss it,
Oh,
the game's
sure.
pretty much over.
Yeah. Yeah, these are the shots that, regardless of the setting, score, you love to see a shot like this come through. Jonathan's out to try for the second time. They reevaluated the line.
I
how
think
he threw the last one.
He might be
This one looks a lot better if
But I
it'll
think he's
just
still-
curl.
just clipped it out.
And it
did not
just
needed it to
barely-
curl up another
just
couple
barely
inches to
too
make
thin.
that.
Figure out what
But a much better look, so
Zakin.
steal a one for Team Zakin.
No, Zakin has the hammer sitting one.
Oh, I'm
now.
sorry, I'm
That was
sorry.
That was a play to steal. I mean, really,
That
to
was
set up
the,
a steal.
3-day weekend.
So issue here is Zakin
So
gonna
He
take
can-
one.
very
Yeah, and he can make it a...
Gibbons may
it two.
play if he gives up one here. I feel like the shaking is likely if Zakin makes the draw for
This,
2.
this could be the last shot of the match.
Yeah.
Mark Zakin into the hack. Looking to draw the 8-foot.
You know what?
All right, draw coming in for Zakin. Might be
Seems
a
like it
little
might be a
hot.
little hot out of his hand. And again, not the end of the world because they know they've got the one.
No, they will have a 4-point.
And he's going to
lead. This
soar
is
right
gonna
through
go
the house, but he's going to take the one. And
I'm going to guess, given the aggressive nature of these skips, and knowing that
I
big
see
ends
no
are always
reason
in play,
to not play through.
especially in a winner go home scenario.
Yeah,
I think he's probably going to at least see how the end shapes up. Yeah, and there's no
I
indication
agree.
of handshakes whatsoever.
Maybe if it were 5, but with 4,
No idea what.
Well, that was my guess. I thought if it was a 5-point game, you can pretty safely
4 is
give it
not
4.
that extraordinary.
So
No, and it's always a matter of style. If it was
yeah,
that
so you-
Quan main game, a 4-point game, they're going to shake. In this game, with two teams that do put a lot of rocks in play and don't
maybe-
hit as much, are more likely to draw, things can happen. You can get
Maybe
rocks
at
in
minimum
play.
start the end and
See how
you know,
things
we
set up.
spoke earlier
Absolutely.
of just getting a little practice time in.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, So that's
Jonathan's
why
going to approach this with the
when the club started,
Now, of
traditional
course.
must-score handful.
Yeah,
Get
gotta
those
put a
corner
guard up.
guards up.
kind of was supposed to be so that.
And I know we had a conversation about this just recently, Ed, with the forthcoming rule changes with that now 5-guard 5-stone free guard rule going into effect. That's going to have an impact.
Because you need a lot less to go wrong. You can get 2 guards up, and then panic can set in pretty quick when you don't have the hammer. I mean, we played. We were just talking. We played at the. I had a team at the club playdown. The mixed playdowns for the GNCC, the mixed championship for the GNCC, and we used the 5 rock rule because the winner would go to the nationals, and the winner of nationals would go to worlds, and worlds isn't until the fall.
And that's how they're playing it now, right?
At the 5, in the fall, the 5 rock rule will be in play for worlds. So what they did was they started us with the 5 rock rule so that the teams would be prepared.
I like
to play
it.
the whole.
It's got its ups and its downs.
It's It's all one tournament from the playdown level to the very end to the worlds is all one. And I think Joel from our club who organized it said I want to use the rule because I feel like that's what the end of the tournament's being played at. The first
and I agree with that wholeheartedly. If that's what they're going to play like at the elite levels, then that's what they should play like on their way.
And it was in the same event, too. It's part of the same, playing into the same event. So we played it. What you found was it's very hard to play defense now without the hammer late in the game. If you have a 2 or 3 point lead, doesn't feel that
There was the
secure.
one thing that you mentioned to me that I wasn't very fond of, which is the 1 point. I don't want to see people...
I've talked about
I don't
this
want
on
to say
stream
tank
before.
shots, but to say that,
If other people have listened to the broadcast before, then we've
I'm
talked about
down 1 with hammer, and I'm going to deliberately give you the steal 1, even though I can draw to take 1 and tie it.
Yeah. Well, it was more the idea that we know that right now, and this hit should get just enough to move it out, which is all that they really needed to do.
Yeah. So now we're got just
Brian
a one
should be
corner
happy with
guard,
that.
by the way, on.
And he's going to go around it right away.
And
hope for some misses.
it's time to start.
So we've talked about it a little bit, just that you get to these eighth end scenario. The classic one is if a team is up 1 without the hammer, the other team down 1 with the hammer. It's very close to a coin flip. We know now that they've done enough. They have enough data. They have enough games played under the 4 rock
To
rule
analyze it.
to say that the team that is up 1 without the hammer has a slight advantage. Not a huge advantage, but it is on any given day you're more likely to win up 1 than down 1. And some people have their own feelings about what they feel more comfortable about, but that's just talking. The overall numbers are that way. So if a team ever decided to not, to give up a steal in 7 in a tie game rather than score, you wouldn't really feel it's that. We'd say, all right, they're taking a risk. That's the overall numbers say you're better off being up 1. Maybe they feel they'd rather have the hammer. All right, it's interesting. The issue is with the 5 rock roll where it becomes more. There'll be more 2s and 3s for the hammer. We don't have enough games yet to know, but it's very likely that down 1.
Oh, good night, Scott. Great to see you.
It's very likely the team that's down 1 with the hammer in the 8th end final
And
end.
it should be, it's going to be fascinating to see because, it's like anything else in life. There's always someone that's able to, so to speak, game that system.
Yeah. It may come where you're down 1 with the hammer and have the advantage in the 8th. If you're down 1 with the hammer with the 5 rock roll, it might be better to have the hammer down 1 than be up 1 without. Which then gets you back. You go back to the 7th end, and then the issue is, well, if it's tied and the other team's sitting.
Do I deliberately place myself in that
and I can't
scenario?
blank. My choices are either to give up a steal or take 1. Maybe I'd rather go up a steal because I'm better off being down 1 with the hammer, which is a little weird. Giving up points on purpose is a little weird. A little different than blanking, which is not giving up points. It's keeping the hammer for yourself.
Part of me is suspect to think that the World Curling Federations and even U.S. Like any other games, to the average spectator and beyond, it's a more fascinating sport with higher scoring.
Yeah,
that's the contrary. Being a former goaltender, I like your 0-0 tie into overtime, but or a 0-0 soccer match going to a shootout. Sure. But to make curling a little more, palatable for the newer fans. Lots of blanks and a match that's 2-1 going into the 10th end is not as exciting as maybe a 9-7 or a 10-9 match going into the 10th. So we see where they want to go with this, and hopefully it won't be exploited too bad. But there's
that's a very specific situation. It won't happen very often. It's just that it could come up. So
someone's going to offset those who try to offset. So Michael Parker with a nice hit, and
looking at the game
think
here,
he's still biting the rings.
He is biting the rings. He's definitely
not
in
that
there.
it really matters. Where
Gibbons,
it is.
It won't matter much because they don't have the hammer, right? I mean,
and
it would be a very
to
rare situation where that would outcount something. So
John's got a couple guards.
Gibbons I was going to say he's down 4 with only 4 rocks left.
So he's starting to come in,
He has those 2 center guards.
And he can't split his own. So it's time to...
It's close. That one I think you actually could get in. Gibbons, I was about to make a point, and Gibbons has decided to switch sides.
I imagine,
you wanna
though,
usually
he's
draw
under
around.
under the understanding that he's got to bring all 4 of these rocks in or close enough to split at least one of them with the final stone.
I like that he's going around this way. That red guard's
this
higher
approach,
means it's
too.
easier to bury it around that red guard. You don't have to be as close to the guard to bury. You usually want to go around the higher guard. If your only goal is to get hidden, you want to go around the higher guard, the red guard, rather than your yellow. Easier to bury it, too, because you have more
Easier
room
to bury,
curl, yeah.
and then a little more room to work with later on.
I actually think they have enough.
And this one
weight.
is going to come in. I
Take it
just-
every inch because you need to get
Yeah,
buried.
you
if
need to
can.
bury, and they really only buried just a
I think that's pretty. That's
we
fully
gotta
buried.
walk
That's,
behind this, but he's a good 2/3.
I
That
mean, if we
really
look
came
at-
in. That was an exceptional effort by Skip Jonathan Gibbons to jump out and help him sweep it in.
Certainly, in no way is Mark going to go after that rock in the house. He's got to peel those guards with.
I think so. And,
Yeah.
safety first.
He's also probably doing the right thing by peeling the yellow guard because I do think that rock is splittable. You might as well get rid of it now and not worry about it. It's not an easy split, but it's right in the middle of the sheet, so you could definitely.
So here's Michael Parker's hit with a fairly normal hit weight.
Yeah,
and
just
they're
gonna
just
remove
taking
it.
that top one clearly
Start to
out of the
open up
house.
that, yeah.
Shooter is going off to the sideboards.
So all you
and
want
out
to do
of
is
play.
get very close to freezing it here or freeze it. Get fully behind the red, basically.
So we're starting to get down to some pretty serious business, as they say. He's still
Yeah.
got his guard to work with.
But
Looking to
if he
bring John
buries here, that
Corelli
guard will
around
be going on the next rock most
Buried
likely.
again. And Ed, do you stack this on top of that 8 foot? Because now you got to kind of leave room in the 4 foot to, assuming you're going to have an
I think
opportunity.
because you only need to stack. Even if you go stack, you only need to stack a third one. You'll have your 4th rock you can throw anywhere.
Anything
in the
but
house,
leave a
so you'll
double.
be okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's got to
Or
get around
even
the guard.
to
You
let it-
really got
to let
bury
this
it.
be
You got to
hit.
bury it, and make Mark.
just not curling. It's starting to go.
You got to
It's-
just let
it's
this
gonna
go.
catch
You've
some
got
of
to
the
leave them both
corner.
half buried. That's it's just going to get
And
open
that's
now.
going to leave him the hit. That's
Unfortunately,
gonna be-
needed to be a little later.
if accomplished. This would
Had
be
that buried, he was
It just
very
didn't
likely
swing
going
that
to leave.
much.
He was very likely
And,
going to leave Zakin with. If say he buries that, I know. We will get to that in a second. Had he
John
buried
buried
that, Zakin would have to pretty much peel the guard. He might
peel
try
the
to make
guard
it a
and
run, but you're
then
really peeling
because
it.
then John can't throw any more guards.
John puts a third one in, and now
Gosh.
it has to make. If he ever flashes the hit, it's 4. You would have left him with 1. So they were in position to make Zakin have to make 1 shot to win the game.
And I guess in a fashion, he is throwing essentially that as his backup shot because he's either going to hit this shot stone.
Yeah, we were
Or peel the
you were
guard.
motioning me about something, and I am also surprised he's not going the other way. They just switched it to going the other way.
And okay, it's
There was a rock that was only half open and one that's fully or
Yeah.
almost fully
a
open.
couple of fellas in here wondering,
yeah.
did they take a look? And
Sometimes
Yeah.
things look different from down in the house than they do when you get down there in the hack. And he
I'm
looked.
inclined to say it's wide open though. So again, if Mark makes this hit,
All right, Mark.
he'll be on his way
releasing
to
the rock.
the semifinal.
Yeah, this is for the semifinal game. It is curling a bit.
And this rock
but
looks
I think
good,
it's fine. It
but
should
they
be
were on it
well
and they're
past,
up.
Yeah.
And
They
that's
let it go
going to
pretty
do it.
close to the guard for no real
Wow.
reason.
Yeah, maybe they're getting fancy, and
But
that's
that'll do it
handshakes
anyway.
on
He
sheet
did make
C.
the hit. Yeah, that'll do it.
Congratulations to Team Zakin. You folks have gained entry into the semifinal. Next Tuesday night is 7 p.m. here at Nutmeg Curling Club. They are going to face Team Maine and Company.
Yeah, so Team Maine
And,
will have the hammer in the 7 o'clock game against Team
Based on
Zakin.
seedings.
Yep, based on they came out, and then
So they
Team
will have
Quan
hammer
will have
and-
the hammer in the final regardless because they won the 1-2 game.
Robert
they are the
will.
top seed.
Okay.
They are the top seed, even though they were
So
the 2
Sean
seed
will
coming
have
in.
the hammer in the semifinal.
Final. Yep, and then Quan will have the hammer in the final, even if Sean as the 1 seed
And
makes
how,
it back.
how about rocks, Ed? The predetermined
Hammer and choice of rocks.
Hammer
They had
and
hammer
choice?
and choice of rocks. The
and
higher
that-
seed, yeah.
Each match will be on semi will be on sheet C.
Yeah, we do that just to make sure that the team that plays the first draw doesn't get to play on the same sheet that they'll play in
That's
the
what I
final.
thought. So they'll play the semi
Yeah.
on sheet C.
And then the final
And
will be
the
on
final
sheet B,
on,
and those
sheet
bids will
B at
both
9
be
o'clock.
happening next week here on the Nutmeg Curling Club stream. We'll have both games live, probably with a team of commentators. Will be a pretty rowdy scene. We'll have a pretty good party here
and
next week. So.
for those, how many are still tuned into us?
I didn't check like a minute ago. I'm sure it's lower now that the games
Ed
are over.
Simia has arranged for, as typical,
8, and it was as high
party.
as,
We're gonna
as, high
have,
as 11, but it got down to 8 there. I think
So we're going to have a pretty big party, a really big party. A lot of our newest members from the Instructional League will be coming down. Those that are playing, those of us that weren't in the playoffs, and those that were in the playoffs, please
all
join
down here
us.
to watch and,
Yeah, next Tuesday is
check
going to
out
be
the action,
one of the biggest nights of the year at Nutmeg.
So our final scores: Quan 10, Maine 4, and Team Zakin takes the 3-4 game 6-2. I will just queue up our shot of the game here for the replay, which comes from our.
We saw some great shots, and those are saved to favorites. Ed?
Oh well, I'll show two. That was that angle dump.
That's the Jonathan
for
Gibbons.
John, but we had another.
And wasn't there
one.
a fantastic double? I think
Yeah, the
was
one I
that
meant
Tom
to show.
Malner
Sorry,
or
that was our
Piker?
other shot, but I will show.
So those actually saved a hard disc.
We can save them, but
Okay.
all right. So here's our shot of the night, which was this
Don Malner.
Don Melner, really precise double.
Yeah, it's
To get that
fantastic.
front red out and just clip out the back red. Very
That's what I
hard
love
to
about
do.
this game, Ed. This is a team shot. Sean, Robert knew exactly when to call it.
Absolutely.
Sweepers got on it and got on it furiously. Don threw a precise stone, and it had to be because it was a.
You could only get a quick
It needed
piece
to
of
be a
that rock.
perfected shot. They did exactly that.
All right. So that's going to do it for our broadcast. For Mike Hope, I'm Ed Simia. That was our broadcast of the first round of the 2018 Nutmeg Competitive League playoffs. So we'll be back next week for the semifinals and finals.
Hey, and thanks for joining us tonight. Mike Hope here, and look forward to seeing you all soon. Have a great
All
night.
right.